What on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at what is going on with the One Piece card game. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on for the One Piece card game, and we need to start off with something that I think is going to make a bunch of people happy. It's Serial Nami. Oh, that's pretty cool. Egghead Nami. What do we have to do to get this Egghead Nami? And well, the answer is largely cross your fingers. Hope you get lucky. Because this is not a serial card that has to be won at an event with some massive achievement of top 4 or top 8 or any of that. No, ladies and gentlemen. You need to participate in official or authorized One Piece card game events 3 times and enter a lottery. Now, you do need to enter into free events. Little events, any of that, official events, you know the deal. You need to do 3 of those. At least 3 of those. You can obviously do more. If you don't do 3 of those, you're not eligible to enter the lottery. I love this. I think this is wonderful. What we don't want is serial cards like this getting into the hands of people who frankly don't deserve them. But that's not happening here now, is it? No, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's not. Okay, great start. They're being given away to people who actually enter into these tournaments, and I think this is wonderful. Now, what I'm a little bit confused about is the fact that it's clearly out of 1,200. We can see it there. It is Nami out of 1,200. They are selecting 1,000 people, which is slightly weird to me. The other 200 can be used as prizes, things of that nature, or they use them again in the future. For now, they're only giving out 1,000 of the 1,200. But they're giving out 1,000, and all you have to do, if you play regularly in Japan, all you need to do is enter into a tournament, well, 3 tournaments, cross your fingers, and then boom, might win yourself a Serial Nami. That's kind of awesome. Now, as for the card, we'll get onto the English distribution in a minute because I have some ideas about that. As for the card itself, it's got Oda artwork. We know this for 2 reasons. Firstly, it just looks massively like Oda artwork. Secondly, look at the top right-hand corner, no artist credit, so that usually means Oda. It could mean animation, but it usually means Oda. And is it a new card? No! It is a straight reprint of the Nami from OP08. They've done that thing they do very regularly here, where OP08 Nami was Egghead Nami. So when they're doing a Serial Nami and they are, using the Egghead Nami card, well, yeah, they're obviously going for Egghead Nami. They're not going to use some other type of Nami, some other costume or era or arc or any of that. Going to be Egghead Nami. We had 2 originally. Neither of them look as cool as this. I love the art on this one, probably because it's Oda artwork, but I adore it. And here we got 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And on play, you can trash a card with trigger from your hand, KO a 5 cost or less, and then if you've got 3 or fewer cards in your hand, draw a card. And as a trigger, you get to do the same thing here. And this is actually a card we are seeing popping up quite a lot lately. This is a card which is relevant in the metagame, is seeing a whole bunch of play. Sometimes seen in koala decks, for instance. So, I'm not talking about the best card in the format. I'm not talking about it popping up in a million decks. I'm not even talking about it popping up in every koala list. But I'm saying it's a good card that does see play. And look, very few people, at least, are going to get a play set of the Serial and actually start playing it in their decks. But I'm just saying, if you wanted to, if that's where you wanted to go here, that would be an option now, wouldn't it? You do also occasionally see it in Bello Betty decks, but it really is more of a koala thing, mostly. At least from what I can tell, we're early on in this metagame. And to be fair, we know that there's a starter deck coming up, which is going to be Yellow Straw Hats. So I'm just saying, this card could get better in the future. But I've certainly seen it pop up in some English koala decks recently since we went to OP12 with the ban list. So it's one that I've got my eye on. Do we need this card? No, obviously not. Do we like this card? Oh yes, we do. But here's the thing. In Japan and other Asian territories, the Serial Luffy was also done as kind of a lottery thing. It was just enter into some tournaments and then win it in a lottery. That was a thing that happened. So with that borne in mind, this Nami seems to be kind of like the new Luffy. That seems to be a thing. Luffy was given away as a prize. This is being given away as a prize. Why does that matter? Because does anyone remember how this Luffy was distributed in the West? Europe, North America, places like that. It was a participation prize. If you headed on over to the Championship 2024 finals, you would get yourself the CS 2024 event pack, and in there you could get yourself a Serial Luffy. I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen this year. I don't know. But I'm saying that the Egghead Luffy was a lottery prize for players over in Asia, and then became a championship event pack over here. So with the Egghead Nami being a lottery prize over in Japan, really does seem like it might make a little bit of sense if it ended up being a similar kind of thing over here. I'm not guaranteeing or promising, it's not been announced or anything like that, but what I am saying is, if you add this all together, oh my word, it certainly makes an awful lot of sense now, doesn't it? That's my prediction. We'll have to wait and see if I'm right about this, but I'm feeling like this is probably the way to go. The chance of pulling it from those packs is low, don't get me wrong, but that is my prediction for how it's going to be distributed over in the West. That is not the only thing we need to talk about here, however, because we do have ourselves a rather lovely Psycho Jump Ace promo. Now, this was a promo I told you about before, but I couldn't actually, tell you what it did, which is a little bit sad. Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because now I totally can. There have been some incredibly blurry images going around the past day or two, but I figured it was better to wait for this Friday. I assumed we'd get a good look, and now we do. And I keep telling you guys Blue Whitebeard are looking good. And now I'm going to tell you that over in Japan, I've been following a Japanese metagame in OP13. Now, it seems to be accepted that Emu is the top deck in the OP13 format. And then behind there, it seems to be Ace and Roger as the good new decks. But I'm seeing a lot of places that are starting to put Emu and Ace up as the kind of S-tier leaders. And it still seems that Imu's better, don't get me wrong. But I've been telling you for a while, Blue Whitebeard Pirates are about to get great. And it does seem like over in Japan in its early days, I've got to stress this, seems to be like Ace is starting to look very, very good. Well, what we got here is 5 cost, 6k, counter plus 1,000 blocker. And on play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Put them in whichever order you like at the top or bottom of your deck. And then give your leader a rested Don. Oh. Yeah. So what you're telling me is we got a blocker. That's cool. And we get a rested Don on our leader. So you can look at this as a 4 cost if you wanted to. You are certainly getting an extra Don of value when you play it, which seems like a big win to me. But you also get to arrange the top 3 cards of your deck. And that's pretty important. And you leave them at the top or bottom of your deck. Oh, I should say you get arrested onto your leader or character. It's not just to your leader, it can be to a character if you prefer. And you get to rearrange the top 3 cards of your deck, which honestly seems like the kind of thing we might be wanting to do. Now, obviously, when we're talking Blue Whitebeard Pirates, we've got a few options. We've got the new Ace from OP13. When your opponent attacks once per turn, you can trash a card from your hand and then give your opponent's leader or one of their characters minus 2k for the battle. And then we got Don X1 once per turn. When you take damage or a character with an original power of 6k or more is KO'd, draw a card. So lowering power and drawing cards is very, very strong. Not the only Blue Whitebeard pirate leaders we have, of course. We've had the Marco now for a little while. Another leader, incidentally, that is starting to get a little bit of hype coming in the OP12 format. Not saying it's going to be the best deck in the format, absolutely am saying there's a little bit of buzz building. People thinking it could end up being kind of cool. But regardless, we've had that red, blue, Whitebeard Marco for a while. And that's Don X1, activate main once per turn, draw a card, put a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck, and give one of your opponent's characters minus 2k for the turn. Seems honestly not to be as good as Ace, if I'm honest with you, but it's there as an option. We do have the blue and yellow Ace as well, that came around in Starter Deck 13. I don't actually love that one, but I do love Ace and Newgate from Starter Deck 22, which I think is going to be my pet project. I think before OP13 comes out, because Starter Deck 22 comes out earlier, I think I'm going to make this my pet project and see what we can do in terms of, making this a pretty nice one. Making this something I want to be playing around with. But this one I'm looking at a little more, because once per turn, you may reveal a card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates in your hand, draw a card and put the reveal card on top of your deck. But of course, what you can do here is essentially rearrange the top 3 cards of your deck so you know what you're drawing with your Ace and Newgate leader before you then put a card on top of your deck. Yeah. So instead of drawing a random card, you're drawing the best card out of the top 3. And we know that in Starter Deck 22, the whole point of this is there are a bunch of cards that essentially, they depend on having what you want on top of the deck. Like the Newgate in Starter Deck 22, that on play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's Whitebeard Pirates, draw 2 cards. So that's why I'm looking at this. I think this is a decent card regardless, but I do think Starter Deck 22, and I'm not necessarily talking about the leader, I'm talking about a bunch of the character cards as well, but that seems to be a decent shout for this card. It's coming out in Psycho Jump. It's going to be a magazine promo. I don't believe we've seen the cover. If I can find it, I'll pop it on the screen, but I've not found it yet. And we basically got another Whitebeard Pirate, so searchable with cards that search Whitebeard Pirates, etc., etc. Count as a Whitebeard Pirate for all those Starter Deck 22 cards. But then also, it's a blocker that lets you rearrange top 3 cards of your deck and give a rested Don on play. I'm just saying this could be good. This is good news. We have Serial Nami that everyone's hyped about, and we're probably getting it as a participation pack promo, not confirmed. And then we got a new Whitebeard blue card, which frankly I've been hyping for a little while, and I think I'm going to continue to do so. But I've told you everything you need to know, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.